Hey, it's me. I'm sick. My voice is really deep and it sounds weird. But I'm here to show myself demonstrating custom maps on the Tasmanian Tiger. With that said, I haven't actually made a custom map. This is an existing one from the game Beyond the Black Stump, I think. And I just copied all the files, renamed the IDs, changed the loading screen. That's really it. And added the level name right down here, custom app, which I can change. And then added the actual portal to the custom app right here. G1 720. And I think I'll just demonstrate it real quick, and then afterwards I'll go into detail on how this all works. So if I go ahead and start this up. Now, my game is currently in the original map, and I just want to demonstrate that the original map works fine, and that the portal isn't just a portal to the existing map, that it is to some custom files. Oh, by the way, if you don't know what this game is, you should, because this is a great game. It came out in 2002, I think. It was one of the first games I ever owned. They recently ported it to PC as an HD remake. It's an early release, so it's a little cheaper than it will be when they release it. So if you're interested in like a 3D platformer, um, yeah, definitely check it out. It's really good. It's a good game. Anyway, so I'm gonna play, and so this is the normal loading screen right there. It went by really quick because I'm running off of actually no, I am running off of a hard drive, not SSD. Anyway, um, so cutscenes, whatnot. This level works fine. Blah blah blah. So let's go back to Rainbow Cliffs and let's go into the other level. So I placed the portal in by the first two levels, or the first three, technically, or four, up at the top in there. Yeah. So little problems with this. For one, when you load the map, if you go into the leaderboards right here, it'll crash. As well, if you implement cutscenes, so I actually tried to take the cutscenes from the original level and put it in there, which it works, but it corrupts your save. So I did beat the game, but now I haven't. So I had to do some save editing to get some of my stuff back, but unfortunately, the part that I did lose was the part that tells the game where I am in each level, so I technically I don't have any talismans. Sucks. Anyway, here's the portal called Custom Map. As I said, as shown in here in the English translation. You can obviously have different translations for the languages that this game supports. So if I load the map, this is the custom drawing that I added. It went by really quick, and then this is the map. So obviously, if you noted from the original one, the opals are blue or green or something, and now they're red. I'm not sure what that is. There's some other interesting differences, and I don't know why they exist. They do. But everything works fine if you don't implement cutscenes. The time trials work too. So I don't know why the time at the bottom is so crazy. I guess it doesn't really work because the level ID, they pull sort of the, what's it called? The whatever that time is at the bottom under my timer, I think is what you're trying to beat. And they pull that from a list, and I assume that's just some random place in memory because the level ID 720 is not valid. Oh, don't tell me these don't work. That would suck. I haven't really tested this out 100%. I definitely should go. Oh, they probably do work. Also, when when I was trying to give myself all my rangs back after fucking up my save file, I didn't get my Aquarang, so I'm still doggy paddling, which is funny. I don't know, I haven't really messed with the save file before, so I don't know what I was doing. Found a bunch of things to set to 1. Anyway, there's a little flower thing over here that I'm gonna try out. Anyway, this is really cool. So to just sort of give it a bit of explanation about what I'm doing. I have a repository on my GitHub of some stuff, progress towards modding this game. I've made other progress. A lot. I love how they set this up. Okay, this does work. It was just because it was the time trial. Oh man. Anyway, I love how they set it up. There's a lot of scripted parts to all the maps and a lot of stuff, and it's not just hard coded into the executable. So editing it is actually not very hard, and you can do some really cool effects with it. With that said, I'm still working on what I'm calling the mod manager, which I have right here. There's no front end GUI right now, but right now it supports editing some global files. I have, like, for instance here, I can set the Zappy ring, which has the property name of that. I can set how long it flies for. So if I set it really low and set the range really high, it's really fast, kind of like rapid fire, I guess, which is what I was testing here, and I did that for all the rings. And then translations, I added that. I'm still working on adding levels like this, so I don't actually have to hard code it. The whole idea is that I can have multiple of these, and that people can input them, and it won't conflict with each other, because they'll be managed by a program, and it'll, like, make sure that nothing gets, I guess, mismanaged. Yeah, so still working on that, and then other things like this. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll have my GitHub in the description, and I guess at this point I should probably go over how this all works. So if you're not interested in finding that out, you can just stop watching the video. Yeah, so this was a lot of fun, actually. The way this works, let's just close out of this. We only need to worry about this. So first off, what's going on is I've overwritten this DLL, which the game uses for audio, and all it is a proxy DLL. You can Google that or whatever to figure out what that means. But I'm intercepting all the calls, and it's a way to gain. It's a way to have code executing when the game runs, and it runs in the process, which has some advantages, I suppose, even though I don't take full use of them. I do for some cases. Anyway, so what's going on is after it initializes, it gets some stuff, and then it starts doing this. So I have two things here: so resource and level. Resource is pretty simple. All it does is it finds, actually the finding part happens in here. So because this game gets updated often, because it's still in early access, I have to have a way to not make these offsets that I need hard-coded, so I have some patterns that I have to search for in the memory, and then it gets the address based on that, and it works pretty well so far. I haven't had problems. This has worked for the latest version, 1.442, and the previous 1.1.3.3.2, I don't know what the numbers are, to be honest. Anyway, it works, right? So after that, what it does is it determines a bunch of necessary functions and values and stuff from the existing function, because I actually, in the load resources, so this is a function in the game that's called every time it wants to get a resource, and it puts the contents of that resource file into a buffer. And so there's I recreated that function in C++, but I need to reuse what they already use, because in some cases I don't want to necessarily load my own file. I want to load the original file, and I don't want to have to rewrite that. They had a good system going. It seemed to work great. So I just did my best to recreate that. And so it gets a bunch of interesting things, and then it updates the patch. So the patch is actually placed into the start of the function, so that instead of running through their code, it actually just redirects to mine. And so that's why at the call offset, which is just determined there, and that's right here, which is just call. It's a x86 instruction. It points to my function, which I guess that's, oh, here it is, func pointer, yeah, which loads here. So anyway, whenever it loads a file, it loads it from here. And this just gives me complete control, and I have a logging system, so it tells me what's going on. I'll actually just demonstrate this real quick. So see, and I got file name standard.shader, the size of the file, buffer. So buffer is, I really don't know why I'm explaining this in detail, but buffer is only used if they already allocated a memory and they just want to load this amount into it. But that's not always the case, and I have no idea what this is, but I need it, so yeah. And then it tries to load it from resources, then the data, the RKV name, and then the directory path. So it tries to load it from a certain path with the full directory, or just from PC external, which I don't know why, but sometimes PC external works without this, and sometimes it doesn't. I was experiencing problems with it, specifically with music files. I'm assuming that this only works with data files, or it only works with files that already exist in the RKV, and then you're just overwriting. I don't know. I have no idea, but I need to add that. So basically, all that's going on in the resources is it's intercepting all resource loading calls, and it's handling that itself, so that I can load it from another file, from a file, or it can load it from the actual resource RKV, which is this and this and this. So it's nice. It's very convenient for dev testing, I guess. I'm sure they have a system when they're developing it too. Next, I have the level. So the level, I guess I should probably open up IDA. Yeah, whatever. All right. So the way this works is each level, like the portal, each level has an ID, and the ID is related to the index in the translation files. Right. So let's see. A2 is a walk in the park, which is like one of the first levels you can play, and its level ID is 5, right? So if I go here and I ignore all these, so this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, right? So it'll pull the name of the portal there, and that's what is displayed in the game, depending on what language you have selected. If you have English, it'll pull from here. Obviously, if you have a different language, then it'll pull it from a different translation file. Same idea though. So I don't know why this exists. It's like this is the ID, this is the value type of thing. As far as I know, these aren't even used. Maybe it's just for the developers to understand better what the purpose of this value is. But for instance, if I were to just do this and add a new key value here, all of these below it get offset by 1, right? So the menu, the main menu, and all that, all of their like load game and options and extras, all of that will be offset, so it'll start displaying crap essentially. So I can't just insert it, unfortunately. So any sort of translation data has to be put at the bottom, so it doesn't affect everything before it. So the problem with that is that means the ID of the map is going to be like something really high. In this case, it was 720. So this is index 720, right? It's like, okay, cool. Now the game actually has to load the map, and so it has hard-coded into the executable. It has a list, or an array rather, of map IDs. So the index and then essentially the name of the map. So like G1, A2, blah, blah, blah. So I actually had to create my own, right? So we have a struct right here that sort of defines all the characteristics of a level entry. And I have no idea what these do. I haven't really messed with them. There's kind of a pattern going on, but not really. Maybe I'll worry about that later, but everything seems to be working fine. It might actually explain why the opals are green, or red, not green, maybe. Actually, it might. Anyway, so I just define all the the pre-existing level entries. So these are all just pulled straight from the game. Um, blah blah blah. And at the very end, I enter mine at 720. Now, if I weren't doing this method of creating my own array, it would be pulling index 720 out of their array, which that it doesn't exist. It just points to a random place in the memory. And in most cases, that would pull an invalid value and actually crash the program. I know 7 on a certain version, I don't think it's this version, but of 721 actually pulled a string somehow. And so it was loading something ridiculous. Anyway, it doesn't matter. G1 is the name of it, and G1 correlates to these. So the game actually has it like this, and then it replaces that with the ID of the map. So you'd have something like this. And that's my custom one I just put into Photoshop real quick. Yeah. So it just has all these. These are all the files that are necessary. And then after I created my own array, I actually have to replace all references to their array with mine, which is why I go through the memory one more time and I just check if there's an existing reference to theirs, that it replaces it with mine, which is it's really straightforward. And yeah, so that's really all there is to it. That was the only thing I've really had to patch for the levels is this, which is nice because I have experience with another game, Ratchet Deadlocked, and custom maps for that game is a little bit more complicated. Yeah. Anyway, so good stuff. This all, when it comes together, you can see in the output it'll say load. That's how I'm outputting the file. Anytime a file is read, it's just a log of it, and yeah, you can even reload it from the save. Cool. So with that said, that's just another step in the right direction. I don't understand the practicality of this, to be honest, since you can't really integrate it into the game with cutscenes, and it won't save to the gameplay file or save game file without corrupting it. There's really no point in having this at all. But maybe just for fun, you can have it like a level that is temporary. Everything you do in it doesn't affect anything else. And also, I mean, I think it's more practical what I'm doing for just modding games, like more modding existing maps, adding stuff to them, which is really not that hard because of how they have this set up. It's really cool. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I know I have a tendency to just not explain things very well because, but yeah.